Detroit Den through and three. Welcome back. Steve here. We're going to talk a little Detroit Lions football real quick before I do hit that subscribe button. It is Thursday, December 14th, getting to be close to lunchtime. So if you're on your lunch break, popping those earbuds in, if you're in your car, you're bored, looking for something to watch, you're looking up some Lions football and you see us, hit that subscribe button. We're going to talk some Detroit Lions football. That's what we do here. Now, I'm a little excited. We did an episode, me and Will, a couple days ago about CJ Gardner-Johnson. Christmas coming early. Christmas is, in fact, coming early. I'm going to talk about it again. CJ, or CD Deuce, I should say legally, he changed his name or is in the process of changing his name, so I don't want to be, not correct about how he says his name. He's back. This is what he tweeted or put on his Instagram yesterday. He's coming back. The Mass Menace returns. We are stoked. Both Will and I think we could do, we're huge CJ Gardner-Johnson fans. I'll tell you a quick little story. When we started this podcast journey early in the football season, right around draft time, we were talking about free agents. Will said his number one free agent was CJ Gardner-Johnson. And I was on board. I don't know if he was my number one, but he was high on my list. And when he signed, it was late at night. I FaceTime Will. When I FaceTime Will, he knows it's important. He knows it's serious. And I tell him, hey, man, hope you're sitting down. I got some news for you. When I call, it's either really good news or really bad news. And I told him that CJ Gardner-Johnson was signing with the Detroit Lions. He got up and ran around his house like a little child in the middle of the night, probably woke up his kids, but we don't care. When it comes to Detroit Lions football, Steve and Will, nothing is safe. If you're sleeping and something exciting happens, you're going to know about it from us. Now, put on his Instagram yesterday, CJ's back, Mass Menace is returning. What he means for this defense, man. I've said before on the show that so there's a problem with this Detroit Lions defense, especially zone coverages. I watch other teams play zone coverage and they pass off receivers very well. Everyone understands their responsibilities. If I'm guarding a certain zone on the field and there's a guy running across it, I have to be able to pass him on to the next zone he's going to. I see huge communication gaps there. I don't have any film, unfortunately, but if you can I'm trying to visualize what I'm saying. The Detroit Lions just are not passing off these receivers. I see defensive backs just dropping all the way back in coverage and leaving a huge zone in the middle of the field for huge gains. Like when the quarterback completes the pass, like just for instance, the Chicago game, we're 20 to 25 yards away when the ball is thrown. By the time it's caught, we're about 15 to 10 yards away. Like that, those are huge, massive cushions. We have to get better on our zone defense. Our man coverage, I would say, is not nearly as bad. I think we play stingy man coverage, but you can't play man 24/7. You can't play man defense in the NFL all the time. You have to throw something new at quarterbacks. You have to try to disguise your coverages, which I don't think the Lions do well either. But those are the issues I see. So with CJ Gardner-Johnson coming back, what is that going to mean? How is he going to fix this? He is a vocal. If you know anything about CJ, he is vocal. He is not going to let these secondary players on the Detroit Lions. He's going to coach them up. I don't want to say he's going to rip them a new one or anything like that, or be like a disruption on the team. I don't see that. I think he just holds guys accountable. He can be that defensive leader in the secondary that we need. Hey, CJ, you worry about the secondary. Alex Anzalone, worry about the front seven. I think that fixes a big part of our defense. We know what our pass rush is. It's not going to get fixed. Our pass rush is what it is until this offseason. We're stuck with it. But what we can do is try to cover a little better and see if those guys up front get home, maybe get their swagger back a little bit, maybe get them a little confidence, get them rolling. I think that's the best way how we can fix this defense is CJ Gardner-Johnson coming back, being able to help with that zone and man coverage. And not to mention CJ can cover pretty much any passer, any route runner on the opposing team. I talk about energy, accountability. Me and Will found I'm sure you guys have probably seen it too, was circulating on video a few months ago about a video with Kirby Joseph, and him and CJ are we don't know. This is speculation. This is just speculation, guys. We're not trying to say this is exactly what happened, but my best guess, just reading body language and trying to read lips from 10 rows away from the guy who recorded this, was a video of Kirby Joseph as CJ Gardner-Johnson in I don't want to say argument, but a very hearty conversation about something that was happening in the game. In my perspective, what I am guessing and speculating is that CJ was just kind of trying to coach up the young Kirby Joseph. He's a second-year guy. CJ's a Pro Bowler. all NFL team. You know, he's done it all. He's a very, very respected safety in the league. Maybe not for his trash talk, but if you just look at his play, he's one of the best. I think Kirby and CJ were just kind of getting into a heated conversation about, you know, something that it looked like CJ was just trying to coach him up. Maybe Kirby wasn't really responding well to it. I'm not saying there's any animosity there. Again, just speculation. I think that's what we're going to get when I say he's going to hold guys accountable. Maybe Kirby Joseph made a mistake. CJ pointed it out to him on the sidelines, rubbed them the wrong way a little bit. I'm sure they're good. I'm sure they're still boys. But that's what I think CJ is going to bring back, guys. That's how he's going to fix this defense. Coverage sacks. That's what we need to get. We need to cover just a second longer on some plays, and we're going to get home. Let Alex Anzalone, Hutch, and that front seven, those guys up front, just kind of get their energy back, man. Let them kind of just focus on themselves. Let CJ worry about the secondary. I think that's going to help. Maybe I'm just a complete idiot, don't know what I'm talking about. My logic is there. Let me know how you feel in the comments. If CJ comes back, guys, it's not going to be Saturday against the Broncos. He hasn't been practicing, but I think we can look at that Minnesota game coming up. We got the Cowboys, Vikings, back-to-back, 2 out of 3 weeks, 2 division games, one team who's leading the NFC. We got our hands full these last 4 weeks, but 3 weeks with CJ Gardner-Johnson. I see him coming back for that first Minnesota game. That's probably the soonest he comes back. Just without practicing, we're not going to see him Saturday. I really don't think. Trust me, I'd love to be wrong, but dealing with a pec injury, not getting any game reps since week 2. I'm sure he's still in phenomenal shape. I'm not worried about that, but just I think they'll kind of sit him out for a week. So like I said, Vikings, Cowboys, Vikings again. 2 teams that love and rely heavily on the pass game, and that's where Detroit struggles. I just gave you an example of how CJ Gardner-Johnson can help this defense with coverage sacks. It's probably the only way we're going to be really getting after the quarterback this year, guys. I know it sucks. I hate to say it, but I think I'm being realistic. That's how it's going to get done. So you look at who the Vikings and the Cowboys got. Huge names, 2 of the best receivers in the league, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb. Justin Jefferson kind of battling that hip injury all year, and then I saw he had a chest injury last week. I expect him to play the rest of the season. I know he said he's playing against Cincinnati, but I'm looking forward to that matchup of CJ versus Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb. It's going to be a dogfight. I think this is when we need them, is these last 3 games. Let's clinch down this division. Let's get that home playoff game. Let's get CJ back, get him in mid-season form, as you might say, right at the playoff time. Everything's fine, guys. I know everyone's panicking right now about the Detroit Lions and our defense. I'm not going to talk the offense today. I got a little episode I'm working on. I'll try to get that out later this afternoon on how we can fix this offense. I got some ideas. I'm not an NFL coach. I've never coached at any level. I'm a diehard fan. I love to study film and see what works, what doesn't. But as a coach, I have 0 experience. I'm just a guy, a diehard fan talking football. But I do have a question before I wrap this show up. I've seen a lot of people the last, 7 weeks talking about Aaron Glenn, wanting him fired. So I have to ask you guys a question as it pertains to Aaron Glenn. Do the Detroit Lions get to keep CJ Gardner-Johnson if we fire Aaron Glenn? And the reason I ask that question is because I think that's why CJ Gardner-Johnson came here, is because of Aaron Glenn, their time in New Orleans. CJ has been on record saying that he looks at Aaron Glenn as like a father figure. So if you guys are willing to fire Aaron Glenn, you have to be willing to possibly lose CJ Gardner-Johnson, who's on a 1-year deal. So I just want to throw it out there. I want CJ, lifetime Lion, give him a 10-year deal at a reasonable price. I want to lock him up, man. I think he's one of the best safeties, but you have to ask yourself, you fire Aaron Glenn, is CJ Gardner-Johnson going to want to stay around? Leave your answer down in the comments. Hit that like button, guys. I will be back later this afternoon with some more content. Enjoy that lunch break. Subscribe to the Detroit Den, best Detroit Lions podcast there is. You won't regret it. Working on our game day episode as well, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you later.